Hey, innovators, welcome to Take 3. And in this short little exercise, we're going to be looking at input, output, variables, which we've covered so far, but the new term that we'll be looking at is branching. And remember, branching and is represented in a flowchart with this decision diamond. Okay, so these terms are interchangeable. You could call them synonyms. Okay, so let's have a look at what we are going to achieve here. Let's have a look at the problem. So we've covered ask the user to input their name, then store as a variable, age, store as a variable. But this part here, this is the branching, and branching is probably one of my favorite parts in computer programming and or creating algorithms, because this is where our algorithm can take on some decisions. Now, first of all, we're going to make a connection with some maths. Do you know what this symbol means here? It means larger than. I'm sure we've all got some different ways of remembering this symbol, but I mean, for me, I always think of the arrows as an open mouth, and like a crocodile wants to eat the larger, the larger side. Okay, so remember, age is a variable, and we're going to give it a value, store a piece of information with that variable. So, for example, let's just say if age represented 5, is 5 larger than 20? No, it's not. That would be false. Is 20 larger than 20? No, it's not. That would also be false. Is 21 larger than 20? Yes, it is. That would be true. Okay, so I'll make a connection when we get to that section of our algorithm here. I'll just make that nice and large. Okay, so let's first of all have a look at what branching is. I'll hide some of these elements. Might even get this box up here. Okay, so branching, an instruction that causes different actions to be performed depending on specified or even specific conditions. Okay, so if the condition is true, then do this. Otherwise, or else, do something else. I'm sure you know that song. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. So think about this. This is a condition. If you feel happy and you do know it, then clap your hands. If this isn't true for you, maybe you just need to relax, okay? So that's one way of understanding branching, but I'll do a demonstration now for you. Now, we've built quite a lot of this program already, but let's have a look. So if the user's age is larger than 20, the program is going to output an age-appropriate complement. So if whoever's using your application, if they're older than 20, we're going to have the application output an age, more of an age appropriate complement. But if the user's age is less than 20, then we want to output a more suitable complement for those users who are younger. So I'll click on the app. Let's have a look at the app in action. And remember, you can click see inside, or you can even remix and play around with this yourself. So I'll hit the green flag. What is your name? My name is Christopher. Enter. What is your age? I'm 36. Hi, Christopher. You are a wise 36-year-old. Let's try this up again. What is your name? I might do daughter's name, and she is 4. Let's see what happens. Enter. Hi, Hope. You are a young and enthusiastic 4-year-old. Very true. Okay, so how do we represent those steps within our flowchart? Well, we've got, if you have a look at our flowchart here, the answer. So this is an input. What's your name? You can see that here. Then we create a variable called name, and we set that variable to the answer for this question. So these 2 blocks here. There's another question, what is your age? And then the process below, we've got a new variable, age equals answer, which is great. And then we've got some output here, which is high name for 1 second. And then if you have a look below here, this is where we've got our branching. Okay, so I'm just going to pause the video. Actually, okay, I'll just pause the clip for a second. And we're back. And here's a shape I've prepared earlier. Okay, so where it says say, or where the output is here, join high and name. You can see there, say high and name. Now, you see how in the block here for 1 second, you don't need to include that kind of detail within your flowchart, okay? That's they're the details that you tinker with when you're creating your program in Scratch. I just drag this to make sure it's lined up. I've got to connect this with a line. Okay, now the most important part of this algorithm here, I'm just going to make it nice and large. I'm going to even make it in bold so it stands out, is this age, okay? Remember, this age is a variable, and where it says age, it represents a number. Now, you saw before I entered 36, so let me show you how that would play out in this flowchart. So here is an if statement. We're going to have a look at if statements in a bit more detail when we're doing some more of some more working Scratch, but this is the block here. So if the age is larger than 20, then do what's in here. If it's not, do what's in here instead. That's really all it means. So I'm going to zoom out, and here's our decision. So I'm going to use this block, and I know I'll need, after the decision, I've got 2 says or 2 outputs. So I think I've got 2 output blocks here. Excellent. So I'll delete these blocks here. Oops. And I'll delete this one here, but I do need this for the end. Okay, and I'll just delete that box there. All right, here we go. So here's our decision. I'll put the decision up the top here. So I've got a bit of space. And I know that there's going to be, from our decision, the computer will output 2 different, will have 2 different outputs. So I need to connect this output, say hi plus name, need to connect that to the decision. Now remember from the last video, if you hit the drop down, the arrow, the drop down box here, select elbow connector. Okay, and now that I've selected elbow connector, you can see it, the mouse turns into the crosshairs. Click and hold your finger on the trackpad, and then you can see it connects to the top of our decision block, which is great. And see how this line here is kind of in the way. If you click on the arrow, you've got these little yellow little anchors that you can move the line around. Okay, beautiful. Now the decision, if the age, so I'm just going to add age, if the age is larger than 20. Now in your application, you might want to change that. I've just chosen 20 because I'm older, and I think 20 might be that kind of in between age. But when you are designing your algorithm, you can have a play around with that as well. So if the age is larger than 20, so if that's true, we want to say you are wise. Hang on, let me zoom in. You are a wise age year old. Okay. So I'm going to connect this decision. Remember, from a decision, it can either be true, false, yes, no. So I'll get my arrow, which is over here, and connect the arrow to here. What are your thoughts on that, team? That doesn't look awesome. I'm going to use the elbow connector, I think. I'll hit the drop down, elbow connector, and select, and boom. The other thing I just noticed, it's good to have the arrow at the end of the line. See how on this line, it doesn't have an arrow to show you the flow. What you can do is click on the arrow, and then you've got this option here, line end. We'll pop an arrow there. Excellent. And I'll do the same for this. Select the line, over here, line end, arrow. Okay, and if this is true, we're going to say you are a wise age, year, old. And if I can get that correct, you are a wise age. Now remember, I need to add plus. You are a wise, and add a plus there. And oh, it's a bit crowded here. I'll see if I can just, there we go. Beautiful. You are a wise 36-year old. I'll just put the plus after the age. There we go. So you are a wise plus age plus year old. You are a wise plus age plus year old. And now I'm going to add another elbow connector if this condition is false. So I'll click on here and drag down at the end of the line, pop the arrow. Okay. And then if it's false, I'll zoom in. We want to say you are a young and enthusiastic plus age plus year old. Okay. So I'll double 3 clicks in here. Say you are a young and enthusiastic plus age plus year old, and finish that. It's quite a big one. So click on the shape there, and as long as we can see all of the text within, we'll need to fix that up. We can see all the text within the shape. It's looking great. And then after each of these, we have the end of our program or our application. And I might even use the elbow connector again. Click, drag, and same elbow connector again. Click and drag. And there we go. Okay, so you can see how we've, let's do a quick recap. Take 3, input, output, variables, and branching. So our algorithm here has each of those components. So you can see the input, you can see the variables, you can see input, you can see the variables being assigned, you can see the output, and here you can see our all-important branching. If the age is larger than 20, so if that's true, we'll go down this path here. You are a wise age, year old. But if it's not true, if the person has entered an age that is less than 20 years old, we'll come down this way. You are a young and enthusiastic plus age plus year old. And then we'll reach the end of our algorithm. Okay, thanks for watching.